It's only Monday, Larry. Love it for you.
Good evening. We'll call the Village Board of Oregon to order for Monday, August 15th, 2026.
17th.
Pardon me, August 17th, 2026. I'm up to a good start. Ask the clerk to call a roll, please.
Higgins.
Here.
Kirchdorfer.
Here.
Knipfer.
Here.
Lees.
Here.
Marks.
Here.
McDaniel. Here. And Van Campen.
Here. Thank you. Approval of July 29th, 2026 and August 3rd, 2026 Village Board meetings if correct, and correction mistakes if any. Kirchhofer and Higgins. Corrections, comments? Seeing none. Motion by Kirchhofer, second by Higgins. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Item 4, public appearances, comments, and communications. Items for discussion and possible action. Public comment. This part of the agenda allows members of the public to provide information to the village board, including items both on and off the agenda. 15 minutes will be provided for this item with a 3-minute maximum per speaker. We have registered Cynthia D. Camilli and Amy Miller. Oh, yes, right, thanks. Appreciate that. I think Paul, I think he's going to. Pull it close, please, yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah, great.
Is that close enough?
Yeah,
Can you hear me all right? All right.
No, closer.
a little closer.
Get closer?
There you go.
I kind of have to eat it.
I have,
Yeah.
the chair's too, wait, no,
You
I'm
can
fine,
move-
I'm fine.
you can
I'm
move
very
like-
short.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Cynthia D. Camelli,
And I'm Amy Miller.
and you have our addresses on our registration slip, but you should also know that I am the project director for Oregon Area Cares, which the village has in the past kindly served as our fiscal agent for, and Amy is.
And I am the project coordinator.
And we're here to talk about, I think it's item
7A.
on your agenda. And we just would like to say that this has been a little bit of a journey for us. The original reasoning behind not permitting gas stations to sell single-serve alcoholic beverages in Oregon dates back a ways. And I'll be quite honest with you, I spent a lot of time, as did Amy, trying to find a data, an evidence-based reason for it, and we failed. It did, however, provide us with an opportunity to have a really good conversation with the folks at Quick Trip, and to have a discussion about what are best practices that they could live with, what are best practices that we would like to see them live with. And I think we came up with a reasonable compromise. Do you want to add anything to that?
The best practices refer to our mission as a coalition is to help serve the community and support a family-friendly community. So everything we do is from the lens of, is this family-friendly? And that's where the best practices came from that view.
So if you'll indulge me, there are only 5, and I'm going to read them to you because I only have 1 copy with me. We think reasonable expectations for all licensees in our community. And I love that this goes beyond Quick Trip, and we would hope that this would expand to all alcohol licensees in the community. Anyone licensed to sell any of the following products: alcohol, nicotine, or THC products. So no alcohol, nicotine, or THC products or displays at the checkout counter or in other places where they might be easily shoplifted. 2, displays and advertising for alcohol, nicotine, and THC products should be at least 3 feet off the ground so that they are so the advertising reaches the intended customer, that is adults, and not children. 3, placement of products should never be in the proximity of candy, toys, snacks, or other kid-friendly items. products and advertising should not be placed where youth could pass them on the way to get candy, snacks, or other kid-friendly products. 4, alcohol and THC containing products should not be cheaper than non-alcohol containing beverages on a per unit basis. And finally, we ask that licensees would choose not to have advertising of all of these products at points of sale, including electronic signs, checkouts, and gas pumps. Alternatively, advertising of this kind might only be displayed, particularly, say, on gas pumps, during certain hours when children are less likely to see them.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And a shout out to all the work you have done and Candy has done in the licensing and adding information
Thank you.
to
Thank you.
licensees. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comments?
Do you want me to talk now or when it comes up?
What subject?
I represent Quick Trip.
Oh, sure, come on down.
Should probably lead with that.
Name and, well, we know you're from Quick Trip.
Yep.
And you have 3 minutes.
Jennifer Malcor. I'm a resident in Oregon. I live on Jacob Circle. People say their address, so I thought I'd say that. I've been working for Quick Trip for 3 years, and I met Cynthia and Amy over a year ago, and we've built a relationship because I had questions about why Quick Trip couldn't serve single serve when grocery store could here in town, the liquor store here in town could, and I think the vape store, but don't quote me on that. So we don't really know why it happened about 15 years ago, but there were other convenience stores in Oregon at that time, and now they're just all Quick Trip. So I came to them and I said, okay, why can't we have single serve, what can we do? So we met quite a few times and we talked it through, and I talked with Quick Trip about it, and we agreed to the, what do you call them? Best practices, thank you. And we brought it before the committee, and here we are. So I'm here for any questions that you may have about it.
Board members? No,
Uh,
I guess not.
Oh, wow, wonderful. Thank you guys very much for putting this on the calendar. Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Anyone else for public comments? No? For the record, we were all at the days here, we have a letter from Paul Larson on tonight. Okay, moving on. Item 5, approve of vouchers in the amount of $3,682,611.03. Looking for a motion to approve. Jennifer and Lee's. Questions on these? None? Okay. This is a Jennifer and Lee's. We have a roll call vote, please.
Van Campen.
Yes.
Lees.
Yes.
Kirchdorfer.
Yes.
Marks.
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Knipfer.
Yes.
And Higgins.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Item 6, consent agenda. Staff recommendation, motion to approve item 6A through 6C. Knipfer. Kirchdorfer. Tim.
Can I make a motion to separate item B?
Without objection, we will separate item B. We will, let's proceed on voting on 6A and 6C. Questions on this item? Okay, we have a motion by Knipfer, second by Kirchdorfer. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and now we'll address 6B. Staff recommendation remains, motion to approve. Go ahead, Tim.
I just would like some explanation why we're sole sourcing another senior center creative project rather than getting other feedback from other people that could provide some different creative ideas on this, as well as potentially a more competitive cost. Personally, I haven't been thrilled with the work Thysse done to this point on some of their senior center work, and I'd really like to see more options. That's my opinion.
Clear, I just have a motion by Van Campen, right? To approve.
No,
Is there a second?
there is no motion,
No
yeah.
motion.
Yep.
I heard you say Van Campen.
Yeah, sorry. I saw Rick's hand, and then I think I saw Lynn. Oh, okay, go ahead, Rick. Sorry.
I guess I don't have an emotion either. I'm expressing the same support for the idea of having a competitive bid for this process.
Okay. And Lynn.
I guess I just wanted to ask a clarifying question because I don't know, the way you said that, Tim, made my brain think differently. Is this a motion for the, like, just the physical signs with the design that we've already decided upon?
Mhm.
It's like the actual,
Well, there's the sign itself, and then there's also wayfinding within the building, I think, too.
and that could be of a different design?
Theoretically, ideally, you'd want it to, oh, there's Jeff. Hi.
Hi, Jeff.
Ideally, you'd want it to, incorporate
Fit.
something, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff. You have something to add?
So the proposal that we have from Thysse at the moment that's on the agenda is for them to design 2 exterior monument signs. We have another wayfinding sign on the exterior, and then we're proposing that there'll be 2 somethings on the higher walls of the gym. And so eventually we're gonna go out and we're gonna competitively bid for people to finish the design and give us a price to build and install those signs. So this is scope of work that's not currently in the bid project because we didn't know what the signs were gonna be. We didn't know what the design was gonna be. So this is kind of the missing link to get us from, we have a site plan that shows a couple rectangles to somebody does a conceptual design, and then we go out and we have sign companies actually finish that process. So the reason we're sole sourcing it or proposing that we want to have Thysse do it is they have all the design information, having worked on the logos, and they have the colors, and they have all the things that we need to do for them to put the concepts together for the signs. And then we'll go out and competitively bid the actual signs and installation. So if the board wants us to back up, we can go get proposals for somebody else to do the conceptual design of the signs, but they don't have all the information that Thysse has. So I think that would be a little bit problematic and probably not more cost effective. So that's why we're doing this route. This is just an interim step. I think the sign package is probably gonna be like $50,000 worth of stuff. So if we get Thysse to help us now, we can better competitively bid that and hopefully save the money on the big ticket item, not this design portion.
Okay. Matt?
This question along this line, so I know Tysse's already done the logo design and that, right? So what is a wayfinder design? Is it like an arrow? I mean, you know what I mean? Is it the
Yeah,
logo with like a
understood.
left or right?
Somebody's got to design a sign with colors and shapes and has to draw it so that we can have it priced. The monument signs are large signs. We have to put that logo on something. So they're going to design, the base and the shape and the size and the lighting and all of those things that are going to help us with those signs. And then we're not exactly sure what we're going to put up on the gym, but we want them to be able to design some alternatives for that. So we can come back to you guys and say, here's the design that we have that we're thinking of for all the exterior signage for the senior center. What do you guys think? We want to take this out to bid. So they're helping us get these visuals together so that we can have you approve that design.
Gotcha. I mean, to me, it just seems like a lot of money for some arrows, And I think this is a great project. I'm just trying to put it together in my head,
Well-
I don't understand what Thysse has that nobody else has for a design. Like the font color or
No,
that's a question. What do they have that is different? Because I'm open to competitive bids for sure, so.
Well, they have everything that they've worked on so far that is part of the logo package.
And is that proprietary?
I don't think that it's proprietary, but they understand where we're going with this work. If we want to bring in 2 other firms and explain to them what we're doing and have them take Tysse's information and do that design, we can do that.
Gotcha. All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Just for clarification, it's not just, showing what the sign would look like. It's actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, it's actually designing the, for lack of a better term, the fixture or the sign that sits. If you imagine like the sign out front here.
Yeah.
Someone had to design how that was going to be made. And that's what's involved here. Am I correct, Jeff?
Yeah, it's everything physical about it. Somebody's gotta
Yeah.
build this.
Right, and
And
so
it's
that
like-
goes to the sign company once,
I see.
yeah. Rick,
How much additional time do you believe that it would cost to be able to allow some competitive bidding in that process?
How much time would it take?
Yeah, is it gonna add to the overall process to slow it down, so to speak? Or do we have time to do this in a competitive bidding way?
I think that we have time to do that. It's probably gonna cost us a month. They're doing site work right now. They wanna be able to, prepare for what these things are. But if we wanna go that route, we probably have just enough time to do that.
I would suggest that the delay will be at least 2 months. We have to prepare a request for proposal. We have to have time, give people time to respond, and then by then, we're gonna be 3 or 4 board meetings.
And does that mean that there's a delay in the process that would cause
Yeah.
a delay in the?
Yes. Just so you guys understand, it's difficult the way that we have to operate in general for the senior center because we don't have, somebody that we can go to and 2 days later we can get an answer. So I'm hoping that we can spend more energy going more rounds with the board when it's a larger, big ticket item, when it's something that we need to just get done so we can keep moving. My hope was that we could approve something like that, but I'll do whatever you guys want to direct. I just don't want to get in a situation where we're delaying the project, because that's worse.
Martin had something to add.
I guess from a procurement perspective, there's different layers. It sounds like what's been suggested now is like a open competitive process. For something like this, typically our village policy is if it's a department related expenditure, it's the department head would seek out 2 or 3 quotes for something of this cost and magnitude, not go out to like an open competitive sort of public bidding process.
Okay.
So that's obviously a little bit more easier to do and go and finding 2 or 3 other additional quotes than the suggestion of going to like an open competitive process.
In the overall scheme of things, that this is not a lot of money. That's where I am. Accordingly, I'd make a motion to approve 6B. Second by Greenacre. No, not on 6 on this one. No,
No, there was no motion.
there's no motion.
That was B and C.
Yeah,
And so now who moved? Sorry.
the chair and Greenacre, and Lynn has got her hand up.
I just want to clarify before we vote so that I understand what I'm voting on.
Mhm.
The motion is to just approve the,
As
Good.
presented, yeah.
okay.
Mhm. Further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
No, looks like that motion failed. Okay.
Do we need to do
You want a new
something
motion?
to direct staff to obtain bids?
Yes.
3 bids?
We can do that the way the agenda reads. All right, we'd look for a motion to direct staff in the direction you may want them to go.
There you go.
Matt? I'm sorry?
I'm seconding his motion.
No,
What is the
we
motion?
need a motion.
Oh, motion to direct the staff to take 3 bids. How's that?
You want 3 bids?
I think so.
So
Is that 2 additional?
2 additional?
2 additional
Two additional bids.
proposals.
Yes, okay,
3 total.
all right.
Yeah.
Any
And
other
I second.
instructions? Okay, we have a motion by Lees, second by Higgins. Is that clear enough? Direction? Further discussion on this? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No.
No.
Mo- 2 noes, motion carries. Thank you, moving on. Item 7, reports of committees, items for discussion and or possible action. A, Public Safety Committee, ordinance number 26-10, an ordinance to repeal section 12.05, sub 6, sub C of the Village of Oregon Municipal Code related to the single-serving fermented malt beverage sales at gas stations. Recommendation to approve. Knipper, Higgins. Discussion. Kirstover.
I guess I just want to compliment the committee, the Oregon Cares, for coming forward and working through this as to a solution. I guess my first reaction when I first read this was, heck no. And then after their opinions and so forth, I think that changed my mind. So I'll probably be voting in support of this motion.
Okay. Anybody else?
I just add to the equitability for Quick Trip and other businesses here. I'm all for too. So, but yeah, I commend you guys working together. I love it.
Okay. We have a motion by Knipper, second by Higgins. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries. 7B, ad hoc. Sorry? Oh, okay. Well, yeah. 7B, Ad hoc Senior Center Building and Fundraising Committee. 1, updates on committee activities.
There's no motion here. I just wanted to, in the resolution that was adopted by the village board, it did require quarterly reporting back to the board, and it's been
A quarter.
3 months. Since that time, we engaged with McDonald Schaefer. They assigned a consultant. It has been a very busy series of months. We've been meeting sometimes twice a week, sometimes mostly weekly. It gets to be a little bit hectic when you're trying to meet public meeting requirements and to have a weekly meeting in between. It gets pretty intense. I do want to compliment and thank the members that we assigned to the committee. They've been very liberal in their time, and they have been very available. I also want to compliment McDonald Schaefer. I think they came in with a strategic plan that we believe is workable and will be putting into place. I originally intended, I gave a fairly long list of forms and documents that we'll be providing. I had intended to give drafts of those before this meeting, but they're too drafty. So at this time, I just want to pass around. We do have a building theme and logo that we put together. Elise Cruz helped us out with this. But the wording and the text of it really came from McDonald Schaefer and their process in talking with us. So just the theme, by the way, is Building Tomorrow Together, Serving Our Community for Generations. So that's our fundraising theme. It came together. It's been we're rapidly producing a lot of documents, a lot of pieces. I think that was probably something I had no concept of when we went into this fundraising project, just how many, when you start talking about a pledge form, and you talk about a thank you note, and you talk about statements of purpose and accomplishments and so forth, the activities and resources in it were a little bit surprising. We're close on a lot of them, but we really hope to be moving forward in the relatively near future. So I'd be happy to answer any questions or have the other committee members if they want to say anything as well.
Rick?
I guess I'll just add that, Tom, appreciate all the work you've been doing, trying to keep all this stuff straight. There's a lot of meetings that are going on, like you said. We've definitely made a lot of progress, and I've learned a lot with the help of the consultants. And I feel like the process that we went through, in particular, like this branding process, to be able to get us to a point where we now have ideas on, all of the different forms that we're going to have to use and how to track those things. I think it's been very helpful to get our feet underneath us now going forward with creating a gap where, yes, we may not have their help for a little while. We'll be able to evaluate if we're continuing to keep the same momentum. We still have opportunities to possibly come back and ask for additional funding for more help, and I certainly would be supportive of that if and when we get to a point where we feel like we're reaching a plateau.
Anything else, Matt?
Yeah, just a question. This is great. When are we going to see, like, when fundraising is coming in? Like, when do the dollars potentially start? And that's more curiosity.
The overall plan is to work through a pledge process, and allowing individuals to make those payments over a 3-year period. We would probably be starting sometime getting out into the community and so forth, probably sometime in September, keeping it open on a maybe not public basis, but a more direct contact basis until April. And at that time, then go to a more public, more general kind of fundraising kind of arrangement.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, thanks, Tom. Item 8, unfinished business, item for discussion and/or possible action. A, electric vehicle charging station site host agreement with Dane County for the installation and operation of a level 2 electric vehicle charging station at Highlands and Netherwood. Staff recommendation. Motion to approve. Higgins. Jennifer. Questions, comments on this item?
I just had a question. The people who use it will be paying for it. How are those payments managed? Is that through the third party that was referenced in the agreement? Okay. Thank you.
Rick.
I just was wondering about the number of parking stalls and the level. It's a level 2 electric. I assume that means it's not super fast.
Overnight.
It's overnight. And so does this make sense for the area that it's in? I understood with the senior center and with the downtown areas and stuff that people using those places, it would make sense. Do we have enough parking there to really be able to give up this much parking in that more remote area? I'm just not an electric car user.
I only have an opinion. And that is, as Tim mentioned, it's overnight, and I think that's when it'll mostly be used. And theoretically, when the spaces are open. But I think that it's a legitimate question, Tim.
My understanding is this program was intended primarily for people who rent where they live, who primarily will be buying used electric vehicles, which will be kind of coming on the market in the next year or two. And so there's a little bit of an experiment to whether or not the demand is really there for it. I know I drive an electric vehicle. I have a charger in my garage. I can't imagine using public charging to charge it regularly. But if you were to use fast public charging, it's very expensive. It's more expensive than gas. Slow public charging, you're still saving money versus paying for gas. So it's really an experiment to see how much happens. I don't know what the level of home ownership versus rental is in the Highlands of Netherwood area. But the group that's running this, the Dane County group that's running it, they've been selecting these locations around the county, and we'll really see how they turn out. I don't know. I'm kind of cautiously skeptical, if you will.
Any other staff comments or?
Just one thing on that. It just seems like a random location. Like the Hy-Vee would make sense, I think, or something like that. I mean, I'm for it. That's where people want to do it. It seems like a weird place to drop your car off to. So.
Okay. We have a motion by Higgins, second by Kniffer. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries. 8B, change order number 3 with Ports and Construction for Oregon Area Senior Center and Community gymnasium project, including additional over-excavation and backfill, grease interceptor, storm sewer, and acoustical ceiling revisions for a net contract increase of $32,540.77. Staff recommendation is to approve. Marks and Kirchdorfer. If you have questions, I think Jeff would be happy to answer any. Rick.
I just noticed that this is a net differential because you were able to save money on acoustic tiles here. And that's great, and glad to see that we're not just approving, obviously increases in the budget. Is this the first time we've had an ability to find some savings, and will we be seeing that in the future? Or is it because you don't need our approval to save money? You've got that already.
Yeah, right. No, we hope that there's a couple of other items that are gonna be coming. We've got one where we changed some electrical conduit specification, like the ceiling tile is just a different manufacturer, so it's not really a different aesthetic to the tile that we're using. So if we can find something that's meets the intent and we can save money, we're looking for those items as we work through the project.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, motion by Mark, second by Kirchhofer. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thanks, Jeff. Item 8C, review draft 2027-2036 capital improvement plan.
Hey, Rich, could you change this over to my screen? I assume you want me to speak a little, Phil?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
3 minutes. Yeah. No, I might be able to do that this time. So as Rich gets that pulled up, obviously I had the nice long lengthy presentation at the last meeting. There isn't too much to add. This is just continuing review of the CIP. I'm just going to go through the changes to the two models, the two financial impact models. I did it on a little bit of an ad hoc basis at the end of my presentation last time because we had the updated equalized value information heading into that meeting. Now we've actually updated the models and they're shown in the packet. And hopefully it's coming up here.
Are you days left, Martin?
Oh my gosh.
This is counting.
You're doing great, Rich. You're
counting
doing
against
great.
you.
Thanks for the support. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
throwing you curveballs.
No signal.
All right.
When the troubleshooting is easy.
All right. Now, so let's go to our models here that we looked at the last meeting and what they look like for this meeting. So everything else with the capital plan that was presented on the last meeting is the same. There's one minor change to the Wolf Street funding that I mentioned in the memo, but that was just an error in how it was classified. Didn't have any consequence on the impacts. So the one model we looked at was the impact of the capital plan as it relates to potential debt that would have to be taken on to fund it and what that looks like over a 30-year period here. So we've added in the actual equalized value numbers that were published by the Department of Revenue. Those come out every August. And so 2026, we're sitting at 2.3 billion with a B in total value for the village, and that number has an impact on how much debt that you can take on. So the legal debt limit for local governments in Wisconsin is 5% of equalized value. So obviously if your equalized value goes up, your capacity to take on debt goes up. And since we had a conservative estimate in our last model of 2% and the actual equalized value went up 8%, That makes our legal limit analysis look a lot more favorable. So right now we're sitting at 48% of our limit. And if you take into account the draft 10-year capital improvement plan, if you remember in the version that we had at the last meeting, and I'm going to show it here, we were going over, we were getting up to 78% of our debt limit, and the village has a self-imposed policy to not go over 75%, which is shown in this category here. And in the last version, we were going over that for a couple of years. Now with the updated equalized value, we are under that. So we're not in violation of our self-imposed policy. And again, the whole debt plan based on the CIP is very conservative. We're still estimating just a little bit over 2% per year increase in equalized value. Again, on average, it's been 8% the last 10 years. So I know kind of did some troubleshooting. I have the spreadsheet up. You know, at the end of last meeting, I kind of showed what it looks like. You know, if we assume even just 5% on average, that starts to make things look even more favorable from a debt capacity standpoint. If we think things are going to go just the way they've been, 8%, that makes things look just as much favorable, barely even getting to 50% of our debt capacity. So again, this model that's in your packet, still based on conservative assumptions, and I would assume that this would look probably more favorable as we go over the years here. The other model that we show, now updated as well, is the impact on property taxes from the additional debt service. Again, this looks a little bit more favorable than what we had showed in the last meeting. At the last meeting, those were looking like about $120 per year increase in the median value home over the 10 years. Now it looks a little bit more favorable, about $100, $110 per year, looking a little bit better on the later years. So overall looking at like still that stair step that we've talked about when we're trying to do all of these projects, not trying to create a one-year spike in property taxes. Beyond that, everything else in the packet is pretty much the same as it was in the last packet. The things that we're looking for, again, from the board is kind of these three sort of bigger questions. You know, number one, projects and scheduling. Do you support the projects? Is there anything that needs to be moved around, changed, deferred, that sort of thing? The property tax impact, again, is that acceptable? Considering the investment that is going in, that's been proposed as part of the capital plan. And then the debt capacity is this margin that we're showing right now, albeit conservative. Is the board comfortable with that? Those are the things that, those questions are the things that will answer, you know, what we need to do from a capital standpoint. And then again, just next steps, we'll have one more meeting where the board will have the opportunity to continue discussing this and giving any direction. September 21st, we'll come back again. We can still have more discussion, but we'll really be looking to get the board's approval of the 10-year plan at the September 21st meeting, because we will quickly segue into the 2027 draft budget, and we will want to have those 27 capital projects locked in better so that we can start moving those numbers over to the actual budget. So, I don't think that was 3 minutes, but that's all I have for now. But happy to take any questions and any direction.
Questions? No? I have a couple. Not so much things that I object to or find troublesome with the plan, just things to understand. One is the Kaiser Park study we're going to do. I think it was in there for $70,000. But there's no money after that to implement that plan. Is that, is there explanation for that?
Yes, that's intentional. The biggest reason is, quite frankly, we don't have any idea what that plan will recommend. So we are aware that
Yeah.
there would likely be something, but without having a framework, it would really be a guess, and staff felt it would be misleading at this time to
Okay.
put something in there,
All
so.
right. Yeah, that's the only one I have for tonight. Anybody else? Rick?
It was, in the in the documents, page 295, 298, there's a lot of stuff with the sewer department for televising sewer equipment and sewer service fees. And they were, it was also talking about how we might want to actually hire that internally because it's getting to a point where it's getting as expensive as if we had somebody here. Can you explain to me a little bit more, like, is there $50,000 a year that we're spending for the service, but we still have to buy the equipment too? Is that how what's the second item?
So it would be an either or. Currently, we hire an outside contractor each year, and we do spend about $50,000, $60,000 a year to do that work. But yes, once we took it on internally, we would likely get rid of that line item. So that's an excellent catch, and we can make that adjustment.
Okay. Anybody else? Matt?
So, question and a comment, and obviously I'm new to this. I guess in my head, I'm trying to figure out how we drive the debt limit even further down, right? So 50 or 48% in 10 years, that's one thing. What's it look like if we get it to 10% in 10 years? I know that's a random number, but it feels like we're always looking at growing the debt instead of driving it down. You know, so yeah. So how do we do that instead? And like I keep picking on Bethel Greenacre, right? Like, I can't for the life of me figure out why I need to spend $1.5 million. We need to fix some stuff over there for sure, but you know, like, how do we drive that through the CIP to drive it down, to make sure everything's fixed, nice? We've got arguably 28 parks in Oregon, from what I read on a note card recently. That's pretty good. And growing, yeah. So how do we do what we do right now extremely well without these major investments over time? I know it's a broad question. I don't even know if there's an answer, but that's kind of where my head's at. So I've got 1,000 questions, but I'll sum it up with that one.
Yeah, I mean, the answer to, you know, if you want to drive the percentage of usage of debt, it's less projects, right? It's deferring projects, it's not doing projects, it's reducing the size and scope of projects. And there's policy consequences to that. It really just comes down to what is the quality of infrastructure and quality of life that you want to have in your community. Certainly if you don't, I mean, we'll take parks as an example. You can have a great park system, and that's going to require a certain level of investment. But if you don't want to do much with your parks, then that requires a certain amount of less investment. At the end of the day, when we're talking about these large capital projects, the village could never save the amount of cash that's needed to do these. Like, we need to have and be able to use debt in order to do these projects. So it really comes down to what kind of community do you want to have? You know, what kind of quality of roads do you want to have? You might be okay with sub-average quality roads, and that's going to require a certain level of investment, but you might want better roads, and that's going to require a certain level of investment. Same thing with facilities, and same thing with parks, same things with the equipment that your staff uses, the squad cars, the vehicles, the snow plows. You might be okay with a certain level of service, a certain level of quality of assets that you have, and that may allow for the less use of debt, but you may want something a bit better, and that's just going to require money. You get what you pay for, essentially.
No, that's fair, and I appreciate that. I guess where I struggle is, look, I'm on the park board. I love parks, I have kids, right? Like, all of that. When we talk about parks, when we talk about roads, to me, those are two very different things, right? We need good roads. We need a good police force. We could get by with 28 pretty great parks, right? So I'm just trying to balance that out. You know?
Yeah, and it depends on board to board. Some boards prioritize different things more than other things. Certainly within the last, I'd say, 10 years, there's been a real emphasis on capital investment. And I think that was partly driven by a feeling that things were deferred previous to that. And so there was a little bit of feeling of catch up for some boards over the last 10 years, certainly with the facility projects that have occurred. But yeah, so it's just going to depend on, you know, where the board is at in terms of priorities and that sort of thing. With parks, again, as the example, you know, all the parks projects that are in the CIP make up 10% of the CIP right now. So if you reduce some of those, you know, you're not going to make up a huge amount of driving down your debt usage. I mean, it's really the big debt users are going to be your street projects, your utility projects. I think I had the presentation up. I think I even left it up. I think 70% of the plan is tied up in streets, water, sewer infrastructure, and 10% is for parks, 10% is for fire. So yeah, again, if you want to drive down the property tax impact and the debt usage, you're really looking at some of those big ticket items to really try to make a real impact.
It's helpful, thanks.
Can I ask you
Appreciate
a
it.
follow-up question to that?
Please.
That my understanding also, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, if you defer some of those bigger projects, the roads, the utilities, the facilities, do you often not wind up spending more money in the long run than you would have by having those projects in place in the first place? Is that a fair?
Almost certainly, yeah. Again, part of that comes down to something that's a little bit more subjective, which is what is the quality that you want and that you're okay with. Again, if you're okay with a certain quality of road that's maybe less than, you can get by a little bit longer. But if you want your roads to be up to a certain standard, it's going to require a certain level of investment. And yeah, absolutely, if you defer a project, it is almost 100% certain that it will be more costly in the future. Apples to apples, if it's the same project.
And with inflation too, right? You know.
Anybody else? Rick?
Mark, can you speak a little bit to what maybe a healthy level of borrowing is by considering the fact that we don't also want to defer projects and make sure that we're being equitable generationally to future people who we want to enjoy our community as well, and just look at whether or not, you know, that kind of thing would be what level of where we sit within, for instance, other communities around us.
Yeah, I don't know that there's necessarily like an industry standard or benchmark or best practice on how much debt you should have at any given point. I mean, it's going to, again, depend on the circumstances of the community. But certainly, I think when you look at Wisconsin communities, and I had this slide in the presentation last time, if you're a community of, again, about the size of Oregon, and you're investing in your capital assets, you're spending money to try to keep things maintained, your debt usage is going to typically fall in the 40s, 50% of that legal debt limit. And so you can see this, you know, up here with some of the Dane County communities. Obviously, this was last week or 2 weeks ago. Our percentage is now updated to 48%, so we're a little bit lower than what we had at the last meeting. But you can see our peers, our neighbors, Stoughton 49%, Cottage Grove 47, DeForest 46, McFarland 55, Monona 53. You know, those are very similar sized communities. A lot of them are doing a lot of capital investment as well, doing facility projects. Everybody is growing here in Dane County and trying to keep up. So yeah, I mean, typically when you look at these stats, you see communities this size and who are growing kind of in that 40, 50, peaking out at 60% is not unusual. when you look at some larger communities, obviously when you get to like the city of Madison's and Fitchburg's and Sun Prairie's and Middletons of the world, their debt usage is lower, 20, 30, maybe 40%, just because their equalized values are so much larger that it costs the same to do a street project in Oregon as it does in Madison, right? So the amount, using $5 million of our debts or our debt usage is going to take up a larger percentage than Madison, right? So they just have so much more equalized value to use. When you have a smaller community and you are investing in your infrastructure, Brooklyn is maybe a good example up here on the board. They're sitting at 57%. Again, smaller equalized value because they're a smaller community, but that road project is going to cost just the same for them. So it eats up that equalized value really quick. So I would say, just based on my experience, we're in a pretty good spot right now. I think based on what our capital plan looks like, I think we're in decent shape. I think it's just going to depend on, is growth and equalized value going to kind of keep up at the same pace that we've seen, because that will probably inform future boards' choices on how they want to arrange projects on those, especially in the 2030s. But if things have kept up the way that they have been, even modestly, I think the village will feel pretty good about how it's at least managed its finances. I mean, projects are subjective. Everybody's going to have a different opinion about whether to do a library or a senior center and what the scale of that is. But from a actual financial management standpoint, I think if, 10 years from now, 8 years from now in 2033, we're at maybe 60% of our debt usage, and within 10 years from 2023 to 2033, we did a library, a senior center, a village hall, all the street projects that we've done. A fire station is going to be added in there in the early 2030s, and we're sitting at 60% of our debt usage. I think the community can probably feel pretty good about how it managed those things.
Thank you. I think I was just going to add that I think I understand that these things are a little bit of a moving target, but it does seem like we're trying to stay in that medium area. The only other thing I would add is that when we're trying to do these budgets, I do appreciate wanting to try to save money wherever we can. And it is difficult when, as you said, a high percentage of it are projects that seem to be things that by putting them off or delaying them only make them more expensive and difficult to manage. So it's easy or tempting to go after the smaller piece of the budget that seems to be optional. But I'd like to say that I think that what makes us different or makes any community different and creates a culture, part of that is the Parks Department and wanting to make sure that we, preserve both our past culture and what we want to expand into, I think is very important, and would want to support maintaining a good budget for that department as well. Thanks.
The other thing I'd like to offer is one other way of keeping debt down is through federal and state grants. So as people are asking you for their vote for the state assembly, for the state senate, talking to them about grants for roads, grants for facilities, grants for a fire station, might serve us well in the long run. So,
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Martin. Let's see, 8D, continue review of proposed Bethel Greenacre Park Master Plan. Park Board, Plan Commission, staff recommendation, motion to approve master plan as presented. Is that a motion? And let's see, Marks and Higgins. Discussion. Tom?
I guess one thing I wanted to understand a little bit more was in the discussion, provided that some of the funding might be able to be coming from impact fees in relationship to this. Is that impact fees that are directly related to that neighborhood, or how is that exactly determined?
So the impact fees are collected from new development. So each new dwelling unit that is created, whether it's a single family house or a multifamily development, we collect a park improvement impact fee, and that is based on the 5-year parks improvement plan. So there's an analysis in that plan that does a calculation of what roughly what the impact of an additional housing unit is on trying to maintain the park system at the current level or the desired level based on the plan. And so the village can take that money and then it goes into a pot and then the village can use it however it wants, but it has to be used for a capital project and it has to obviously be used for an improvement to parks. And it can be used anywhere in the village.
Follow-up?
I guess at the same time, I wouldn't want to empty that fund. So there's going to need to be some trade-off on where an appropriate level would have to be. And I guess is that just in determining the funding later on, or right now within the capital plan, it's 100% on debt, right?
Yes, we're modeling it right now, 100% on debt.
Isn't there like 900,000 or?
Yeah, there's projected to be about 900,000 in park improvement impact fees at the end of this year. Recent years we've used, well, this year we used 200,000 to offset debt service payments for Highlands of Netherwood Park and JC Community Park. So again, that helps drive down debt service impact on property taxes. We would certainly want to try to sustain that level moving forward because we don't want to lose all of that in 1 year and then we're going to have to backfill that with property taxes, and so that sends you up a little bit of a spike.
Yeah.
We want to try to avoid that. We've been bringing in, and actually I think it's in the reports tonight that Lisa does. We've been bringing in park impact fees of around, I mean, it's been anywhere from 100,000 to 450,000 per year over the last 7-8 years. Now, some of those are driven by some pretty large multifamily development projects that have happened where we've had like 150 units, 130 units, and so that's a big impact fee payment that occurs when those happen. So I think we're sitting at about 96-ish thousand this year. So it's a little bit slower maybe than it has been in recent years. And that's the other consideration too, is if your growth slows down, these impact fees slow down, which when looking at building permits this year, things have slowed down a little bit, and I would expect they may stay a little bit slowed down next year. We'll have some of our subdivisions starting to kind of close out. Certainly, we don't know what will happen with Autumn Ridge. That may not happen, or may happen, or might happen in a different version. So that might be closed off. Greenview Preserve is really the last one right now that's kind of has multiple phases left. Obviously, Featherwood is the other Viridian proposed development that's out there that still needs to go through the entitlement process. That would certainly help keep some of these fees going. But beyond that, if things slow down, there's a lot of sources of revenue that the village earns off that start to slow down as well. So I guess all that to say, that's a lot of backstory on impact fees. All that to say, I think in a contribution, upfront contribution to like this project, for example, I would probably be comfortable around 200,000 if we wanted to be somewhat aggressive. The other option too is that we use the impact fees on the back end to cover debt service payments. So then it kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility if things start to slow down or dry up a little bit. I believe at the time when Highlands of Netherwood Park was approved, I think that was part of kind of the board's sort of direction to the staff was, we like this project, but in order to get us over the hump on it, we want to use park impact fees to help offset the debt service. So if that's the case here, we'd certainly take that direction. And obviously on the back end, it gives you a little bit more flexibility to, raise or lower those as things might fluctuate.
I would be willing to support the motion if we were to use 200,000 from the park impact fees. Further discussion on this item? Okay, we have a motion by Marks, a second by Higgins. All those in favor indicate by saying, I'm sorry, I need to amend my motion. I'm sorry, I'm going to amend the motion. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. I'd like to amend the motion and say that we're going to use $200,000 of park impact fees to offset the costs. So that's my amendment to the main motion. Second? Okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. All right, now the main motion, again, by Marks and Higgins. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 9, new business none. Item 10, reports of village officers, department heads, and consultants. This is for information only. In your packet, the village administrator report, the Southern Dane County Shared Fire Protection and Emergency Medical Services Feasibility Study and Implementation Plan Project Update, dated August 7th, 2026, from McMahon Associates.
I had a question about
Please.
that. Are they gonna present to this board at some point?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, once they have their report completed.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. That's probably December.
Yeah, end of this year, beginning
Yeah.
of next.
How about to the fire commission? They haven't presented anything there.
Well, I think what they'll probably do is try and arrange multi-community, like maybe call
The joint board.
joint,
Okay.
like the joint municipal meeting like we usually have.
Okay.
Okay, other questions on that? No, okay. Item C, Finance Director Report, Village Balance Sheet and Revenues with comparison to budget for 6 month ending June 30th, 2026. Tim?
I had a question. I noticed that the building permits from last year to this year are pretty flat, but the building permit revenue was up already like 50% above the full year budget. What's the explanation for that?
We approved the new fees at the end of last year.
It was a 50% increase?
It
was that
was not an apples to apples change because we changed kind of the framework of the permit fees. So it wasn't really clear on how that would sort of translate in terms of percentage. We knew it was probably going to be maybe 2 or 3 times larger.
Okay.
But we budgeted conservatively, not knowing what might happen.
Got it.
So, yeah, so coming into this budget will be helpful.
So it's the opposite of Lynn's under budget, it's over revenue.
All right.
That can be your catchphrase. That can be-
Okay.
Thank you.
And item D is Finance Director Report, annual building permits, and impact fees and connection fees collected through June 2026.
And just to let you know, on the
Please.
building permit fees, or the building, there was only one new residential construction in the month of July.
Wow.
So it's really dropped off a lot.
Yeah,
The whole report wasn't ready, so I didn't want to put just partial information on here, but I did see there was only one new residential build in July.
thank you, Lisa. Item 11, announcements and miscellaneous business. A, announcements, comments, communications, upcoming meetings and events, and miscellaneous business. One is the reminder, next regular village board meeting is rescheduled to Tuesday, September 8th, 2026, due to the Labor Day holiday. Is there any announcements, et cetera, from department heads or staff? Go ahead.
I just wanted to give my shout out to the election workers for another election in the books. We have one more remaining this year, but huge shout out to them. We couldn't do it without them. And I just wanted to shout out the village staff as well, because I have a huge support system here. Everybody is very willing to help. Everybody from the finance department that jumps in and helps alphabetize whatever we need to do, always willing. And huge shout out to Rich for helping me reopen that intersection on election day. We got a lot of compliments on that. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And thank you to the contractor too.
Rich,
Okay.
we out there with like a hard hat and that? Yeah.
He,
All right, good.
he answered the phone immediately for me, so.
Chief has something to add.
Yeah, I just want to make an announcement that tonight, the reason I was a little late, was the first night of our very first class for women's self-defense. Yes, it's been a long time coming. I can't thank all of you as the board for your support and seeing this through, as well as Martin, and the department heads. This is truly going to make a difference. As these classes cycle through, you're going to start to hear the experiences they've had, and my staff is just beyond excited about this. So, you know, you talk about the type of people we employ. They're willing to take time away from their families during this to do these things because it's going to make a difference. So just want to say thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Phil?
Yeah, please.
Oh, this is really loud. I just wanted to mention that we are starting to kick off some of our bike and pedestrian plan engagement events. So they will be out at the Sounds of Summer concert next Tuesday, the 25th. Also working with the school district to have them set up at one of the Ready, Set, Go conferences, likely the middle school next Wednesday night. And then there will be a public open house. We just got a room booked at the library. So thanks, Jennifer and her team. Hopefully you won't have to kick us out like other meetings. But that'll be Wednesday, September 16th from 6 to 8 p.m. So you're all are welcome to attend. There'll be posters and things, social media posts coming soon for that. But that'll be kind of the public kickoff. We'll invite Planning Commission and Park Board as well.
Great. Questions on that or no? Okay. Board members, any announcements or Lynn?
Last time we met was right before National Night Out, I think, and I wanted to thank all of the board members who stopped by and were at the table for the Village Outreach Program. Village Outreach Program was a little quieter this summer than we typically are for a number of reasons, but we were at the Public Art Fair and National Night Out, and I think we had some great conversations. I was personally able to meet a lot of new residents, which was really nice. And Village Outreach Program for the fall looks even quieter, just due to my schedule. So if anyone has anything they'd like to put on the Village Outreach Program, you are welcome to contact me, and I'd be happy to put it together. But just right now, my bandwidth is a little fried. So.
Okay. Anybody else?
Doesn't the senior center have an event this week?
We have. Sorry. There is the Brooklyn Night Out, National Night Out tomorrow night.
Okay.
That
Concert
we are going to be a
Wednesday?
part of.
Is there a concert Wednesday at the senior center?
Yes, it's going to be a wonderful concert. We have it's a Monday. We have the Sutter Brothers coming to perform at the senior center. So yes, 10:30. Thank you. I don't have my calendar in front of me. Yes, it's a morning performance. So step by.
Okay. Anybody else? No. Okay, 11B, future agenda items. This item gives village board members the opportunity to place a topic on a future agenda for discussion or possible action. Tim Hagan.
I would like to place the tax bill question that we discussed a couple of meetings ago back on the agenda for next time.
Okay. Without objection? Done. Okay, item 12, discussion and possible action regarding the negotiation of the School Resource Officer Program Agreement with Oregon School District. The village board may convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 para 1 sub E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, investing in public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session for the purpose of deliberating and developing negotiation strategy for the School Resource Officer Program Agreement with the Oregon School District. The village board may reconvene an open session for the purpose of taking action on any matter discussed in the closed session as necessary or appropriate, I'm looking for a motion to move to closed session. Kirstover and Lees. This is a roll call vote.
Marks,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Kirchdorfer,
Yes.
Knipfer,
Yes.
Lees,
Yes.
Van Campen,
Yes.
Higgins.
Yes.
We are in closed session. Thank you.